In a world spiraling into chaos, where every thought and action was steeped in darkness, one man stood apart. While the earth was filled with violence and humanity had corrupted its way, there lived a man named Noah. He was righteous, blameless among the people of his time. He didn't just live, he walked faithfully with God. Imagine that for a moment. Picture a world drowning in its own turmoil, yet here is Noah finding peace and purpose in a serene landscape, bathed in a golden light, his every step a conversation with the divine. This wasn't just about being a good person in a bad world. It was about maintaining a deep, personal connection with the Creator amidst overwhelming corruption. Then, the moment came that would change the course of history. It wasn't a whisper, but a presence, a voice that resonated not just in the ears, but in the soul, carried on the wind and illuminated by a light that was both gentle and immensely powerful. God spoke to Noah. He revealed his sorrow over the state of the world he had created, the deep grief he felt seeing the wickedness of humankind. He announced his decision. He was going to put an end to all people, for the earth was filled with violence because of them. He would destroy both them and the earth. Can you imagine the weight of those words? Hearing the Creator of all things declare the end of everything, you know? Noah, in his humility, didn't question or argue. He listened, his heart heavy, but his spirit open, ready to receive the divine command. And what a command it was! God didn't just announce destruction. He provided a path to salvation. He gave Noah a blueprint, a design for a vessel of unimaginable scale. An ark. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, God instructed. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. The dimensions were staggering: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. That's roughly 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet tall. To put that in perspective, that's longer than a football field and as tall as a 4-story building. It was to have a roof, a door in the side, and 3 decks lower, middle, and upper. This wasn't a simple boat. It was a floating fortress, a sanctuary designed by God himself. And Noah was tasked with building it, not by a great sea, but in a dry, dusty land far from any significant body of water. The sheer scale of the task was monumental, a test of faith and endurance unlike any other. So, with the divine blueprint in his heart and the weight of the world's future on his shoulders, Noah began. He, along with his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, picked up their tools. The sound of hammers and saws echoed through the quiet landscape, a stark contrast to the distant noise of a world oblivious to its fate. They felled massive gopher trees, shaping the resilient wood into planks and beams. Day after day, under the hot sun, the structure began to take shape. This was more than construction. It was an act of unwavering obedience. Think of the ridicule they must have faced building a massive ship in the middle of nowhere. People must have thought he was mad, but Noah's focus never wavered. His faith wasn't in what he could see, but in the promise he had heard. He was building on a foundation of trust, plank by plank, nail by nail, creating a testament to his belief in God's word. As the ark neared completion, God established his covenant with Noah. A covenant is a sacred promise, a binding agreement. God said, "I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. But I will establish my covenant with you." This promise wasn't just about survival. It was about a new beginning. God promised to save Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives. They would be the seeds of a renewed humanity. The covenant was a beacon of hope in a world facing total annihilation. It transformed the ark from a mere vessel of escape into a symbol of God's faithfulness and his plan for redemption. It was a promise that even in judgment, God's grace provides a way. Part of this covenant involved an incredible task: gathering representatives of the animal kingdom. God commanded Noah, "You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Birds, livestock, and creatures that move along the ground too of every kind would come to him to be kept alive. Alongside this massive undertaking of animal husbandry, Noah had to gather and store food, not just for his family, but for every single creature that would be on the ark. Imagine the logistics, a massive floating zoo and granary all in one. We see a montage of Noah and his family working tirelessly. They are gathering grains, fruits, and dried plants, creating vast storerooms within the ark. They are preparing stalls and enclosures, creating a habitable space for creatures of all shapes and sizes. It was a monumental effort of preparation, guided by divine instruction and fueled by an urgent purpose. Then came the animals. This wasn't a chaotic stampede, but an orderly procession, almost supernatural in its peace. Pairs of animals, from the smallest insects to the largest beasts, began to make their way toward the ark. Lions walked peacefully near lambs, predators and prey side by side, guided by an unseen hand. They came from the forests, the plains, and the skies, drawn to this single point of safety on earth. Noah didn't have to hunt them down or capture them. They came to him. It was a visible sign of God's hand in every detail of this plan. Noah and his family guided them up the great ramp and into the ark, settling them into the places prepared for them. This incredible parade of life was a living, breathing fulfillment of God's promise, a quiet miracle unfolding before the world's final storm. Finally, the work was done. The last animal was aboard. The last bundle of food was stored. The massive ark stood complete, a colossal wooden giant against the horizon. The sky was still clear, the sun still shone, but the air held a new stillness, a quiet anticipation. Noah, his family, and a world of creatures were inside. Then, the final step was not taken by Noah. The Bible tells us, "Then the Lord shut him in." The great door of the ark was sealed, not from the inside by man, but from the outside by God. It was a definitive act, separating the world that was from the world that would be, securing the precious cargo of life within. Inside, there was faith and promise. Outside, a world continued on, unaware that its time had run out. The stage was set for the flood and for the greatest rescue mission in history to begin. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. This simple, powerful statement encapsulates his entire journey. It wasn't about understanding every detail or foreseeing the outcome. It was about trust and obedience. From the first word of warning to the final sealing of the door, Noah's actions were a continuous yes to God. His story is a powerful reminder of what it means to walk with God in a world that has turned its back on him. It is a testament to the fact that one person's faith can become an anchor of hope for the future. The ark stands as an eternal symbol, not just of judgment, but of God's incredible grace, his loving provision, and the power of a single, righteous life lived in faithful obedience. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores these timeless accounts of faith. See you next time.